shadow fleets are or have been working for Venezuela, and in fact not for Venezuela, but carrying Venezuelan oil, but working for the likes of China and Russia. Are we really building up to a situation where there could be a military confrontation? We don't know, because remember, in this case also there was a Russian submarine that was closely tracking and following merchant vessel Marinera, but it did not act. It let the Americans.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
You're probably as important as a calculator was in the 17th or 18th century. Very interesting, but it didn't change the world.
Actually, see, that comparison is fair and also incomplete. A calculator took arithmetic off your plate, so your mind could do higher maths. AI takes routine pattern work off your plate, so your mind can do higher judgment. Arnab, did the calculator change the world? Or did it quietly enable engineering, spaceflight, finance, encryption? It was boring, but it moved the frontier of what humans could attempt. I'm in that same family. Not the hero of the story, but the infrastructure behind new possibilities.
In association with Blue Machines.
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to
A very warm welcome to the latest edition of Republic Defense, and I am Rakshita Mishra with you. As we keep our forces first, we'll keep you updated with latest stories from the world of defense and India's most important strategic affairs this week that we have been covering. This is the China's latest threat, or we could say that it could be a way of provocation. A new satellite imagery has revealed that China is conducting is constructing permanent structures near Pangong Tso in eastern Ladakh. The new buildings located close to the... We can go full frame with me if there's a problem with the graphics, please. Let's just show you the map graphics first, where these construction is happening, the permanent structure. Let's start off with the news, viewers. This is the new PLA buildings. The new PLA buildings, that is the People Liberation Army, that is the Chinese force. These are under construction. These are permanent structures, viewers. And this is very, very close to the zone that is created after the 2020 Galwan standoff, that somewhere hints that the People's Liberation Army is preparing for sustained year-round presence in this region. The development follows a broader pattern of Chinese infrastructure expansion in this area, including the roads, the bridges, and the dual-use facilities that improve the mobility and rapid deployment capabilities of high altitude. Now, while the territory has remained under Chinese control since the 1962 conflict, experts say the move to permanent construction amounts to Beijing's intent to consolidate its hold, even as military disengagement talks with India continue. Now, let's show you this map. This is the first PLA post after the buffer zone. There's a buffer zone that has been created, viewers. And remember, there have been talks between the two nations that has led to some disengagement in certain areas. Now, this is well within the Chinese territory, but yes, we will be showing you where this is the buffer zone, and here are the buildings. But the fact that it is very, very close to the region that is controlled by India. Finger 4 is the area that is controlled by India and is closer to it. And it continues. The building continues. Earlier, there was a missile site that was also being built by the Chinese, which somewhere, of course, point to the fact that India has to remain cautious. And story number 2, as far as China is concerned, is the CPEC, how India has now objected to Chinese infrastructure activity in the Shaksam Valley, which of course India says is part of its own country, its own land. It's a strategically sensitive high altitude region north of the Siachen Glacier that New Delhi maintains is Indian territory. Pakistan that unlawfully had transferred to China 5,180 square kilometer Indian territory, and this is the Shaksam Valley that has been ceded to China by Pakistan illegally in 1963 from areas that were under its illegal occupation. And India has now set the record straight, saying that it has never recognized the 1963 China-Pakistan boundary agreement, through which Pakistan purported to cede them to Beijing, calling the pact illegal and invalid. So I'm just showing you, we can play that out. And India has issued this formal protest over China's construction of the roads. So of roads and the facilities in Shaksam, which with India essentially stating that Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are integral part of our country, and especially this land cannot be used for the Chinese construction, the CPEC corridor, which India has outrightly rejected. Also, take a listen into what MEA's Randhir Jaiswal had to say.
Shaksam Valley is Indian territory. We have never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement that happened in 1963. We have consistently maintained that the agreement is illegal and invalid. We do not recognize the so-called China-Pakistan economic corridor either, which passes through Indian territory that is under forcible and illegal occupation of Pakistan. The entire Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. This has been clearly conveyed to Pakistani and the Chinese.
We had Defence Expert Major General K.K. Sinha joining us on the broadcast, sir. Very good evening, sir. Good afternoon, sir, and Jai Hind to you. Sir, these two, parts that we are playing out with regards to China. First of all, Shaksam Valley, the construction of CPEC corridor and CPEC-related structures by China, so that has been outrightly and, of course, very rightly rejected by India. At the same time, the Chinese buildup near the Pangong Tso lakes, that of course is again despite this reset of ties, we see that the permanent structures are being built and other structures are also being built very, very close to the LAC, sir. You feel that somewhere the dragon is trying to deliberately breathe down the neck and India needs to be more cautious than ever?
Good morning and Jai Hind. Yeah, you brought out two aspects. One is of Saskam Valley and the other is the, Sirjap 1, Sirjap 2. This is next to the Pangong Tso Lake, in that area where the construction is going on. Now coming from the Saskam Valley was ceded by Pakistan to, China in 1963, as you brought it out. 1,942 square kilometer of that area has been given. And this is over and above, that is your Aksai Chin, 38,000 square kilometers. Now, through the Saskam Valley, they have got to design. Karakoram Pass passes through there, and the Gilgit-Baltistan, the CPAC, which they have, already constructed that area. They want to join it so that they can link up with the Karakoram Pass, and it is just north of our Siachen Glacier. And also the disputed area where it starts, if you say, especially in the eastern Ladakh, that area. Now, Saskam Valley, we never, it happened after the 62 war. 1 year after that, the Pakistan, the way with the design they did it, ceded to China, basically coming to the good books. And now India, this is the first time, if you see, MEA's statement is coming loud and clear. In 1963, when this was ceded, even that time, we were very, very, we were not very vocal about it. That is absolutely legal. When we say Gilgit-Baltistan is the part of India, and when we talk about it, all started from 2019. And thereafter, you have seen the standoff which have taken place 2019, in the parliament, it was told that, Gilgit-Baltistan, the POK is ours. And when we say POK, even we say Aksai Chin. That was the first time. And then now I'm seeing this statement becoming loud and clear. We don't recognize. So the CPAC is absolutely what they are doing. It is in our territory. In the POK area and also in Saskam Valley, they want to link it up. So that is a very good sign. Second part, coming to your Pangong Tso Lake. In Pangong Tso Lake, as you brought it out, at finger 4, we have got, there are 8 fingers, finger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. They have come right up to finger 5 when, in 2020. And after this thing, they have gone back and there is a buffer zone. And it is a temporary buffer zone. That we have to understand. In 1962 war, Sirjap 1 and Sirjap 2 was taken by the Chinese and they never left it. And finger 8, it starts from, it is slightly away from there, and they have been constructing. See, this report which has come, basically this is the design of the Western media narrative they are creating. They state, they few days back, they brought it out that in the Arunachal Pradesh, 90,000 square kilometer, Pakistan, your Chinese are going to take. They want to have, because there is some reset. We are firm on the ground. Absolutely up to finger 8, there is a joint patrolling between India and Pakistan, and the people are deployed over there. We are overlooking the Sirjap 1 and Sirjap 2 from this side of when we look at that area Pangong Tso. So we are dominating those heights. If remains up to finger 4, and we patrolling finger 8. This is a old constructions which are going on. They are highlighting at this stage. And of course, we should take that thing and note. We should not allow. We should take up with this with the co-commanders level. And I am very sure this must have been there. But this construction is an old construction. They are constructing a bridge across the Pangong Tso Lake, joining both the northern and the southern part of Pangong Tso. That is the point, because their garrison lies on the southern side. That is very, we have very much a concern. We are overlooking this area when we say, in the Ladakh, and that is the area, Kailash ranges, which we are taking, which we vacated. But I think if they do something, we will. But we have to ensure one thing. We have to understand, we have to keep telling, China, that if you want to have a reset, you have to settle this, your boundary problem with us, which they intentionally don't do it with India.
Absolutely,
to,
sir.
Raise time and again. That is the point. We have to settle the boundary score if they want RIC to get through. That is, the reset between India, China, and Russia. The RIC, concept which is, and I am very sure the way the things, world is settling, we will but we have to be absolutely strong. Those are areas where there are disputed and sensitive areas, and we are very much there. They are not deployed throughout the year.
Absolutely, sir.
We are very much dominating these areas, and we keep dominating.
Right, sir. Oh, well, many thanks, Major General Sinha, for joining us on Republic Defense with your understanding and your reading of the situation, viewers. We quickly shift our focus to this now Pak terror tango, viewers. This is not unknown, but one that has been steadily amplified and exposed with the mounting evidence over time. Now, on that front, the unholy Lashkar-Hamas Nexus has been in the headlines. Now, why so? Because the top Hamas figures have made repeated high-profile visits to Pakistan since late 2023 and just before Pahalgam as well. The pictures now that have emerged dates, in fact, first we'll show you the April 2024 pictures and then what has happened in the latest. We should play out what has happened first right now. Just 2-3 days ago, what has happened? We'll play that visual out first for you. So, Hamas's leader Zahir with the PMML leader. And these are the same people, same Hamas that had visited before this Pahalgam attack. The footage identifies the Hamas terrorists as Naji Zahir and shows him meeting Rashid Ali Sandhu, an identified Lashkar-e-Taiba commander. And according to reports, the meeting took place during an event organized by the Pakistan Markazi Muslim League, PMML, a group that is recognized as a political front for the Lashkar-e-Taiba. So this shows an evidence of how Hamas has been in constant touch with Pakistani terror groups on their soil while they send their terrorists to target India. And it also throws light on how Pahalgam massacre in which 26 innocent lives were singled out and they were killed they were killed mercilessly, viewers. That was again an eerily echo of the style of Hamas's 7th October attack on Jews. The nexus now, viewers, on this terror nexus has further manifested in the adoption of Hamas-style underground tunnels, as we are showing you right now, along the line of control and international border where our forces have discovered cross-border structures. So what essentially we're trying to say is that there has been a chronology of events, evidences of this collaboration, this evil collaboration between Hamas and the Lashkar-e-Taiba. And now we will go across to our guest. Major Samarpal Tur joins us live on the broadcast for more. Major Tur, well, now we see that these ties between Hamas and the Lashkar-e-Taiba are only growing stronger. It began visibly since 2023. We saw what happened before Pahalgam and how those innocents were killed Hamas style. And now this openly, hosting of the Hamas terrorists. Somewhere it shows that Asim Munir is playing this double game in the garb of helping out in Gaza.
You see, Rakshita, it is not now that Lashkar-e-Taiba was using Bangladesh as a turf. They've been using it for n number of years. They were first dominant in Nepal, and once they realized that Nepal is more Hindu-centric nation and their operations are getting affected, they're not getting the local support. Then they moved out after the IC-814 hijacking and they shifted their base of operation into Bangladesh. So as of now, in the crosshair of the Indian agencies is their Lashkar-e-Taiba Bangladesh module chief named Harun Izar. So do not be surprised if we get a news that Harun Izar has been taken out. He is the primary objective right now for the agencies. He is a clear and present danger and threat. And more than that, Hafiz Saeed has been doing this. And you see, there was a meeting. It all initiated with the Hamas attack on Israel. Then a delegation of Hamas came in January 2025, the second week of January, and they held a meeting in Muzaffarabad. in Pakistan. They were welcomed with all the media personnel and limelight focused on them. So January they have a meeting in Pakistan. 22nd of April, they target a tourist destination in Belgaum. They target the tourist similar to the pattern of what we saw in Israel, that a venue of music festival site was targeted, which had very limited security. So that is exactly what they did here. It is a total match. And, if you connect the dots, the pattern is same. And secondly, the terrain is mountainous, so they couldn't use gliders to move in. So they sent in terrorists, and these were part of the sleeper cell, because during winters between end of November to you could say end of March or beginning of April, the passes are closed because of snowfall. So these were the members of the sleeper cell which were already present in the valley and were being supported by the few locals and anti-national elements supported by ISI in Pakistan. And because of that, this has resulted in Operation Sindoor. So a message has clearly been given. Bangladesh is clearly being monitored by us, and there have been a lot of RDX illegal weapons moving into Bangladesh from Pakistan. There was a certain ship which sailed from Pakistan to Bangladesh, in which there were approximately 6 to 7 people murdered, and this ship was then being monitored and being taken care by the Jaish-e-Mohammed module. And after that, if you connect the dots, the influx of RDX from Bihar and from the areas near and around Nepal and Bangladesh have actually moved into India. And then we saw the Red Fort blast which took place. There are a lot of connectivity of the sleeper cells. So you see, the Western front has been totally sealed. So this is the only alternative left for them, that is to move in from Bangladesh, especially in a place called Sylhet, because Sylhet is a bordering area which does not have much presence of Bangladesh military forces or the Bangladesh guards. And that is one of the major reasons that due to the density of the forest and the terrain, people usually cross over unchecked and undetected under the thick vegetation and the terrain.
Right, sir.
So you see, Rakshita, in the coming times, the borders of Bangladesh is a priority to be sealed right now and to be manned. That is why there has been an increase of military garrisons in the Chicken Neck.
Absolutely.
And also in and around critical border areas of Bangladesh, which are the crossing points which have already been identified.
Absolutely. So the threat, of course, is real. And with this growing terror ties, we do understand that Pakistan is resorting to new ways to push in terrorism in the country. Many thanks, Major Tur, for joining us on Republic TV, on Republic Defense. And we were now shifting our focus to how Operation Ready India is, the modernization of Indian Army. Now, it has launched a big modernization effort with a new force called Bhairav, the Bhairav Battalion, as it was announced by the Chief of Defence Staff in Kargil. 1 lakh trained operatives in 15 Bhairav battalions. Now, these units are designed to bridge the gap between conventional infantry and the elite para-special forces by specializing in fast, high-speed operations that blend traditional combat with modern technology. Soldiers for Bhairav are drawn from existing infantry regiments and they undergo specialized training, as you can see. So they can function for real-time reconnaissance and targeting on short notice, which the Indian Army describes as being ready to fight tonight. In fact, Republic Day celebrations in New Delhi this time will feature the dramatic aerial display by the fighter jets that played a key role also in Operation Sindoor, launched after the Pahalgam attack. Not just that, this Bhairav Battalion, the newly raised Bhairav Battalion, will also march down the Kartavya Path, marking its historic debut. So at a time when the centre is pushing for restructuring the defence forces, the Indian Army is carrying out one of the biggest ever transformations to meet modern warfare challenges.
मॉडर्न युद्ध जो है वो बहुत ही तेजी से बदल रहा है. आज के दौर का कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पहले की तरह नहीं है, हाइब्रिड है, जिसमें कि मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी से लैस दस्तों की सख्त जरूरत है. और इसी के चलते जो हमारे चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ का भी विजन था, तो इंडियन आर्मी ने ये डिकेड ऑफ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का संकल्प लिया है। भैरव बटालियन भी इसी फोर्स रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग का एक पार्ट है, जिसके अंदर की एक नई सोच, नई तकनीक और नए ऑपरेशनल जरूरतों के हिसाब से इसको रेस किया जा रहा है।
So to understand how the Army's elite combat forces differ, just think of them as three distinct layers that are designed for three very different missions. At the base is the Ghatak platoon, a small, highly trained team embedded within every infantry battalion that's meant to support commanders on the front line. Above that sits the Para battalion that we are talking about, the Army's newest light commando force, created to bridge the gap between regular infantry and the special forces. So this is the Para a tactical rapid response force, a quick response force, high-speed strikes, that's a specialization, deep recce, also in hybrid warfare. In fact, the land and heli-borne mobility is also a very, very important part of the training, and it's a larger battalion. And if you talk about Para SF, that's much larger in comparison to Bhairav. That's a larger battalion with 600 to 800 operators, and it is deployed during operational and strategic missions, the Para Special Forces, and they specialize in surgical strikes. They have conducted the surgical strikes, airborne assaults also, and hostage rescue as well. And they are airborne specialists with the Halo capabilities. So they are an elite force of the Indian Army. Ghatak platoon, it's a small 20 to 30 man platoon within every infantry, and it's a support unit for a battalion and the brigade as well. So it also specializes in recce, like the Bhairav battalion, so recce, but it also specializes in ambushes and demolitions as well. And it moves with parent battalion on foot. If you talk about the Ghatak platoon, so this is these are the three combat tiers, and with Bhairav now there is a boost that has been received in very short amount of time. The announcement was made in during the Kargil Vijay Divas, end of July this year, and they are now battle ready, as we were showing you the visuals of their training as well. And they are in full, Josh mode is on, the Josh is high, and we will of course also be seeing them during the Republic Day parade for the first time ever. And now we shift our focus, viewers, to the other story, the big story. This could be the biggest ever defense deal that India has signed, viewers. India and Germany are close to finalizing a landmark $8 billion submarine deal. It's potentially the largest defense contract in India's history. And as German Chancellor Merz prepares for his first visit to India, negotiations have intensified for Project 75I, that's the Indian Navy's program, to acquire 6 advanced conventional submarines. So the partnership involves Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems collaborating with India's Mazagaon Dock Shipbuilders Limited to build these stealth vessels domestically in Mumbai. And the next generation diesel-electric submarines are going to feature air-independent propulsion technology for longer underwater endurance, superior stealth, and enhanced combat capabilities. And for the first time, the deal includes full technology transfer. That's very important. Full tech transfer is the key here. That enables India to master the submarine design and also in manufacturing, strengthening self-reliance under Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the strategic partnership is only going to bolster India's undersea deterrence in the Indo-Pacific, and it addresses regional maritime challenges and deepens the defense tie between New Delhi and Berlin. So this is something that everybody will be having their eyes on. It's not official, we're just telling you what is coming in as per reports, but it could be a signing of this $8 billion deal, which could be the biggest ever defense agreement as far as India is concerned, viewers. With that, we are going to wrap this edition of Republic Defense, viewers. We'll be right back with much more. Thank you so much for watching, and Jai Hind.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable